Hi, this is Susie at Serenity Wellness Retreat with Angie Hitz of Levitate Hypnosis. And I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Oh, good. I'm excited to be here. This will be fun and informative.
Good, good. So Angie is a certified clinical hypnotist. What's the difference between a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist?
So the difference really is that hypnotherapists do a little bit more as far as psychoanalysis kind of stuff goes. I'm not certified as a hypnotherapist. That is more of a trade term. So I am just a hypnotist.
But I think that hypnotists do just as much, and like they can prescribe medication and things like that. They're like full-fledged doctor, therapist, counselors type things, aren't they?
Yeah, more so. They definitely have more background in that and a little bit more education as far as psychology and that kind of stuff goes. So they're able to recommend more and prescribe more.
And refer and things.
Yeah, and refer. So, yeah.
So about school, what did it take for you to get certified?
So when I first started getting interested in hypnosis, in the state of Wyoming, there's really not a law that says you have to do XYZ. I decided that I wanted to go the route of getting certified over, it's called Mike Mandel Academy. He is just a world-renowned hypnotist and trainer. And so I was able to do that. So I started studying hypnosis probably 3 years ago. And then I finally decided, all right, I'm going to get certified. So I'm certified through Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. And that's just online. And then I went to Las Vegas for a couple conventions and conferences. So I went there, and I also was able to go to Florida. This was last March for another, not convention, but a conference.
Right.
That you can then take some classes and extend those certifications in certain areas.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been.
And how did you get interested in it?
Oh, so I have a long history of, I don't know if illness is the right word, but I've had lots of surgeries due to, I was born with hip dysplasia. Oh. So I had my hips fixed. And then when I got them fixed, it just kind of snowballed into all of these other problems.
As many surgeries do.
Yes. And so one thing that I had fixed then led to another problem and then another problem. And I don't know how in depth you want me to get with that, but that's why I got interested in this. I had done so many things as far as Western medicine goes, going to lots of doctors over the course of the last 15 years, because it's been since marriage. And sometimes I joke with my husband about that. Like, okay, that was the problem. That's where it all went wrong, but not really.
Just kidding, honey.
Yes, just kidding. So I had my hip fixed, and then all these other problems started coming along. And the more those problems come down the chute, the deeper and deeper I got into not being well in my head.
Correct.
And as soon as I was able to kind of get that under control, the other things inevitably started getting better too. I actually, when I saw the hypnotist for the first time, because that's how I got into hypnosis, is that I was referred to her. I didn't know that she was a hypnotist to begin with. I just knew that I was sick here and I needed help. And so one of my family friends said, I'm going to make you an appointment. You're going to be at this place at this time with this lady.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. And at that point I was just grasping for anything that would help me to feel better and to think better. So I show up, and she gives me a stack of papers, about hypnosis. And then I was really confused. I'm like, what is this? Who did they send me to? But as we went on through each session, I was able to kind of pull myself out of that mental mess and able to kind of just detox that mental mess. And she was able to help guide me through all of that stuff. And that was really, really a pivotal point in my life. And now I get to share it with everybody else because I decided, and she kind of asked me if I would be interested in doing it. And I thought, no, I can't do that. But the spark was there, and I just rolled with it. So
That's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people have tried everything in Western medicine and have given up with it, or, just tired of the lies we've been fed for so long. And no offense to any Western medicine people, but I know a lot of patients that people I've worked with who have tried everything and then are reaching out to this alternative type of healing. And I just love that that a friend just, this is where you're going.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And so was your big reaction that you had? I mean, tell us how it felt when you had your hypnosis.
Well, kind of to begin with, I didn't know what she was necessarily doing because I hadn't learned about conversational hypnosis yet. And I learned about that later, through my studies and things like that. So once she kind of told me, I do conversational hypnosis, it's getting you to, flip that thought process in us just conversing. And then she formally hypnotized me, and I just felt like this lift, this like breath of fresh air, in what seemed like a really short amount of time. Once I got put into, that trance, it seemed like 7 minutes. And when she brought me out of it, I looked at the clock and almost an hour had passed. And I thought, how is that possible? And so that was one of the first things that I just thought was so amazing, was that hypnosis distorted time.
Nice.
And we do that. We go in and out of hypnosis multiple times a day.
Exactly.
Whether we're driving from one place to another and you don't remember that time in between. Anytime prayer, sometimes can send you into that hypnosis. There's just lots of different things that we do. Daydreaming. And so the overall feeling that I had after our first formal session was just a sense of relief. I felt like the weight that had been holding me back was lifted a little bit more than before. So yeah, it was very neat.
And so what are some of the most popular things that you've hypnotized people for?
Okay, so that is a great question. I've hypnotized people anywhere from anxiety, fears, phobias. I've had some non-smoking clients, and a couple with weight loss. I'm not totally passionate about that yet. I think that will come the farther along I go. But the main thing that I like to do is called a mental detox. So I am helping people to get rid of their gunk, that mess that's up in their head. And more times than not, when people come to a hypnotist, they think they know what the problem is. I think we all think that at some point. And what they end up getting out of it isn't what they expected. And so with the mental detox, we're releasing and letting go of those things that we've been holding on to for the past few weeks, past few months, past few years. And a lot of times it's not even what we expect. So Yeah, that's my passion, is the mental detox, which kind of encumbers or is all encompassing of these things, fears, phobias, anxiety,
Weight gain.
weight gain, smoking. I mean, really, that's all just it's just a mental garbage mess that we're then just cleaning up. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. And where do you practice your hypnosis?
So my practice is currently, I work out of my home, like, some people do. I live in Lovell, Wyoming. And so, yeah, I do it right out of my home. I've turned in one of our bedrooms into a little sanctuary, if you will, and that's where all the magic happens.
Do you do it online ever?
Yes, I'm glad you said that. So Zoom, I do a lot of Zoom calls with people, and people from all over the United States. I haven't had anybody out of the United States yet, but it makes it accessible, right? And it allows you to be in your own comfort zone, in a place that is familiar to you, all while taking care of, being able to go into a trance and that. And actually, I really love Zoom because it is kind of a double trance. So yeah, because you're looking into a screen and then you're looking at another person in that screen. When we look into a screen, just in general, if we're scrolling through Facebook or we're scrolling, just on the internet, we're in a trance already.
True.
So that makes it a double trance, and it makes it a lot easier for people to go into, into that hypnosis, their hypnosis.
Boy,
so
that is like people scrolling are basically hypnotized.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. And I love that. So if someone was to call you for a Zoom hypnosis, would they have that same lapse of time that you had?
As far as like the distortion of time
yes.
goes, yeah, usually if you are in hypnosis or whatever, you do get that time distortion, and it's the same as if you're in person and online. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wondered if it had the same effect if you were online. I actually know this because
yes,
I've done it with my hypnosis training, but and yeah, same thing. Like I could not believe an hour went by, and I wanted to ask you about past life regression. You said tell me what your thoughts are on that and hypnosis with that.
I haven't gotten into it a lot. My focus over the course of the last 3 years has been mostly on the mental detox part. I am definitely interested in that past life regression, and just the little bit that you shared with me about, your experience. I thought, wow, there is really definitely something there. I don't know if that will be something that I get totally into, but I know that that it works, and that it is very therapeutic for people to grasp that part of their lives. And I'm it's very interesting.
I just listened to a great book. I'm still in the middle of it. Dr. Hawkins' Eye, and he did it's called Karmic Investigating.
Okay.
And explained like how they muscle test people to make sure that yes, they are dealing with this old karmic stuff and that they can let it go. And like it's proven that it actually is a thing and you can do this therapy. And so I've had past life regression done to me, and it was very interesting. And I actually did the research on it to find out if the story was true, and it sure was. So that was so interesting to me, just doing the history and finding out that wow, that actually happened, and I didn't even know geographically where this island was that I saw myself in. Right. So it was such a experience.
Yeah, I think that that's important too. Because I think everybody wants this experience. But then once you get the experience, you don't really know what to do with it. But I think that that is so important that you then followed up. You did your, I guess maybe your duty in finding out more. You know, I think that we sometimes are just either okay with the answer that we get and don't really look into it, or we're not doing enough to make it really, what's the word? Like stick.
Nice.
Is that the
Yeah,
right? Okay.
right. Yeah.
I'm like trying to think what that would be. But I think that that's important to know that you have to put work into it too for it to be beneficial. It's not just this thing that you went and did and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to apply it
Yeah.
to the issues that are going on in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me some of the books that you read that got you interested in hypnosis or that were part of your training for hypnosis.
Yeah. So with hypnosis, when I first started doing all of this, one of the main books, two of the main books, I guess, is Dave Ellman. He is one of the founders of hypnosis, and he kind of has a different style where it's more direct. He is, you know, that's a more direct way, which I am more comfortable with because I'm not real great with words, I'm not real flowery, and I just like things to be cut and dry. Like, here it is, you got it. And so his stuff is more geared that way. And then Milton Erickson is the other one. He's kind of on the other side of it, where he has a lot more words that he says, and it's a lot of conversational hypnosis and things like that. So I do work with both of them, but those are two books that really lifted me off with hypnosis and my studies. Now, a couple that I've just read recently that I've really enjoyed is, I can't remember who it's even by, but it's Hypnosis for Children.
Oh.
So my youngest client, I guess, that I've seen was 5, and the oldest of my clients is 86.
Wow.
So
nice range.
Yes, we got this nice wide range, but everybody comes with a different, a different level.
So what would a 5-year-old need hypnosis for?
So for 5-year-olds and most kids, this is the fun part. They are in a trance all the time.
Right.
All
They're
the time.
in theta state until 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So their imaginations make it so much easier for them to go into hypnosis because really they're in hypnosis all the time. I've worked with younger kids on being able to sleep better, anxiety for like testing at school and things like that. And separation anxiety is the biggest one, I think, for my youngins, like 5 to 8, that separation anxiety. And it's just like, it breaks your heart a little bit because you have all of this emotion and all of this stuff pent up in this little tiny body. But it's easy for them to go into hypnosis. So it's a lot quicker for them to have a turnaround. And so it's very, very effective for kids.
So a lot of people are afraid of hypnosis because they think it's messing with your brain. Tell us if it's messing with your brain.
It really isn't.
Let me re-ask the question. Is it a myth that this actually messes with your brain, or does it change the brain somehow? Is it a scary thing?
So it shouldn't be scary, right? And again, it's all a natural process. What you allow your brain to do is what will happen. A lot of people think that, like you kind of said, that that they feel out of control and they don't want to feel out of control. But if you think about it, it's really about gaining control.
I like that.
Yeah. You're allowing yourself to go into the subconscious mind, and we're rewiring those pathways. So when we get in there, and it is you, I'm just here to facilitate. So any work that you do is dependent upon yourself. So that means that you are controlling it. And so I can see how some people would be nervous and scared about, not having control. And I think the big problem with that is that it comes from stage hypnosis,
Right.
which I think is great entertainment. But a lot of people are terrified because they don't want to come in and have somebody have them barking like a dog or clucking like a chicken, because that to them seems out of control. So yeah, it is more about having control than not having control. I don't know if that answered the question.
That did. That's exactly what I remembered in my training as well, is that you are in control. So, like if somebody's in hypnosis, can they bring themselves out of it in the middle of being hypnotized?
Yeah. So there isn't at any given time, if they're uncomfortable or if it's just not where they want to be, you can bring yourself out of hypnosis at any given point.
Have you ever had anybody who was hard to get out of hypnosis, like they were so relaxed?
Yeah. And I guess not hard to get them out of it, but it took them a little longer to surface.
Nice.
Because and really that was just it. They were so relaxed and so into making that change that, yeah, I mean, it did take a little bit, but in a really good way.
So you touched on neural pathways and rewiring that. So like if somebody has an addiction, they have their neural pathways are pretty set. And this tell me how like the subconscious and the conscious and what is that critical
Faculty.
faculty is
Yeah.
like the line in between the two of them. How does the rewiring, does it happen in one treatment or?
For some people, maybe. I can't tell one person from another because everybody is so different. I usually have people come 3 to 4 sessions. And that's because I do think that those things that we've been holding on to for a lot longer than just a few, weeks, they take a while, and you talked about rewiring those pathways. Now, those pathways that we're trying to correct, if it's addiction, you have to think about how long you've had the addiction. And if it's any time past any time, you have to give the brain time to sever those. We're practicing, and then eventually they will get reconnected in a positive way. And anytime we take something negative out, so if we're working on addiction or we're working with anxiety and we start taking out those things that are building up the anxiety, like anger, stress, what are some other things that go with anxiety? Anytime we take those out, we're then going to go back in and backfill it with good stuff.
Oh.
So it's important because the mind has been holding on to some of these things for years and years. So for us to go in and have the subconscious mind get rid of those things, it's important to fill it back up because the mind will go looking for it, is what I'm trying to get at.
So in your like initial questioning when somebody is, this is how when I had my hypnosis done, is like I pretty much filled out my whole life history and my health history, and we were going to go in and rewire some things and find some answers as to why maybe I'm karmically reliving all this again. In that questionnaire, then is it then that you decide what you want to rewire it with? I mean, like refill it back up with. Is there a statement thing or?
Nope. So a lot of times what I work like content free a lot. Content free being you don't have to come in and tell me your deepest, darkest secrets and things that you're wanting to work on, because your subconscious mind already knows.
Nice.
You've already made up your mind about what it is, even if on a conscious level you don't know. And you know that by the time you've made an appointment with me or another hypnotist. So
you don't have to have content to fill it back up with.
right.
You don't have a statement that you just rewire the subconscious to make a new habit.
Yep. And so when you go into trance and you're letting go of those negative feelings, thoughts, images, emotions, sensations, these are things that, like I said, you already know. It's just making that effort to get rid of them for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? We always think that we want to get rid of things, but when we're in a trance, it makes it easier for those things to come off. And then backfilling it, like we talked about with those good things, is that, you know, whatever the brain is going to glom onto to fill it, that's the more important part.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that answers a lot of the major questions that somebody would have at first when they are getting in touch with you. Do you have a website?
Ooh, I'm just getting a website.
All right.
Yep, it's just getting built as we speak. So it will be up and running by the end of this month. And so I'm super excited about that. It is Levitate, or www.levitatewellness at, I don't even know.
Okay.
You're gonna have
When
to
you
edit that
know,
out.
you can tell me and I'll put it in the description below.
Okay.
And then what would you, how about your phone number? Do you want to give that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, it's Levitate Wellness, and I am Angie Hitz, and my telephone number is 307-851-8358. And I also have a Facebook page that is Levitate Wellness that you can go and you can see some of the things that I've posted. And there's some videos on there that I did when I first started, but I should probably do again.
Well, you can add this.
Good.
So you can add a link to this.
Yes,
so.
that'll be great.
So tell us, you have a family?
I have a family. So I was born and raised in Byron, Wyoming, big town, big city. And now I live in Lovell, big town,
Bigger.
big city. Yeah, it is bigger. I'm married, have been married for 14 years, and we have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, and a dog. So.
And do you use hypnosis on them?
I do.
The dog?
I have never done it on the dog, but you can.
You can?
There is hypnosis for animals.
Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I actually was thinking about that when I was thinking about your dog kennel stuff. But I have worked with all of my kids. My oldest daughter, who's 11, had spent most of her elementary years just this little ball of anxiety. And she couldn't get up in front of people. She's a phenomenal athlete, but would not do anything in front of anybody because she was so scared. And, you know, we did a few sessions and she has never looked back. She's just this outgoing little ray of sunshine. And I'll be honest, it was something when I did it for myself, I really, really was, you know, I bought into it because I knew it helped me. But it was totally different when it was with my daughter. And I could see that change. I could see the change in her just with one session. And I just knew. I knew right then and there that this was something I needed to share with everybody that I could, you know. And the other thing is that she's gone to school and she's shared with some of her friends the techniques that we've done. And I'd say probably 20% of my clientele are people and kids that she's referred. And she's 11.
She's probably going to be a great hypnotist herself.
Yeah.
And you've worked on the other 2?
Yep. I have worked on all 3 of my kids. So,
yeah, great.
Yeah.
So, can you give hypnosis to yourself?
Yes. So all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Even when I'm sitting down with a client, that is still self-hypnosis. Because again, I'm just to facilitate. I'm just to help get you through it. But there are more times that you would just spend alone doing self-hypnosis. And, prayer is a type of self-hypnosis. Meditation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just setting time aside just for yourself to just sit and be quiet and listen. That's self-hypnosis as well. And there are more formal things that I will give my clients. One thing that I really work on and love to do in my sessions with people is emotional freedom technique.
Oh, nice.
And that's tapping.
Right.
So that's that energy transfer from getting, those feelings that are trapped inside of you to come outwards.
Nice.
And it is. And
I'm a big believer in EFT. So yeah, in fact, I think we'll do it at our grief retreat. One of the leaders does it really well, and I've done it. I've felt it. I've seen it in other people who are crying and in pain, have it done to them, and it just, it's a great release. That's a really great combination to put together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yep. And it's been really, like, almost everybody that I've done emotional freedom technique with they've had such success with it. And that's a type of self-hypnosis as well.
Yeah. Yeah, pounding it in. I think of it, I'm just pounding this in, squirting it out.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I really do. I think of it like, okay, we're opening up a portal, and it's just opening up, and we're letting that out, and we're letting whatever we're pounding in. And another example of whatever you take out that's negative, you are going to then tap in the positive things too.
Nice.
And maybe
that
that's
works together so well.
Does.
Excellent.
So, yeah. It has just been a life-changing, amazing ride so far. And I cannot wait to see what the rest of life brings, and being able to just change lives, because that's ultimately what we're here to do. And, with what you do and what I do, we're out here changing lives.
Love that so much.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really good, and I'm super grateful. So this is her brochure, Levitate Wellness Hypnosis. It's a great little brochure. It explains common fears and how to keep on succeeding. And she's located in Lovell and can work online on Zoom. And I'll list her information down below, and hopefully we can work together here. I'd love to have a session, and I just love being hypnotized after studying for it. And if there's any last things you want to throw in?
I'm just, like I said, I'm just excited to be able to have a camaraderie. We are healers, and it's nice to know that there are like-minded people that we can bounce ideas off of, that we can collaborate with, and ultimately just healing together as a unit. That unified.
We feel kind of alone out here in Big Wyoming with very few healers letting themselves be known, because I feel like you get teased or looked down upon or something like that. But it's what we're all here to do, is to heal and heal others. It's I feel like the purpose, and what like Jesus is my go-to dude, and that's what he was, and what was sent as an example that we could all be and do. So reach out to your local healers if you want to try something alternative, and not be afraid. And if anybody else that's into alternative healing wants to be interviewed, I'm happy to. I love this. I love getting to know things deeper and better, and being able to share it with a lot of folks. So
thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to even do this, because it makes a difference, and it's just nice to share it, and to share it with you.
Well, thank you for coming so much. All right.